I would like to see spoken word artists clearly recognizing the level of power that they currently have in the art form, because I feel that uh, we pretty much are in control of what happens. There are no big labels or anything.
What can they do?
What can they do? Uh,
You said you want them to recognize the type of power that they have, but like, what would that mean? Like, what would spoken word artists do differently if they recognize the type of power that they have? You just
yeah, I
you,
don't.
but you said you wanted them to recognize the type of power we have. Or do you think that spoken word artists think that it's controlled from the outside, like that we don't have control over what our art form, where our art form goes?
I think vastly that many people do. I think that there is like I think there's a tendency among people in general to assume that some outside force is gonna come in and like alter their destiny.
It's funny you say that, because you do know I don't think of myself as shallow, but the last books I've been reading are like self-help and business books, and
right,
and the long tail, and the tipping point, and You Inc. and Made to Stick. I mean, those are the type of books I've been reading lately. Okay. And it's funny you say that, because prior to those, and what I'll go back to after those, are autobiographies. Mm-hmm. So I done read Nina Simone's, God bless her soul, and I read Miriam Makeba's, who recently passed away,
right,
last week. And I mean, I've read hers, and I mean, you name it, man. I done read John Lee Hooker's, and
okay.
But the reason that I read them is because I'm trying to figure out Jimi Hendrix, all those people. I read them trying to figure out how they get to where they are. And the funny thing is, at every point in every book, they always say that there's some dude that comes out, some white knight, and changes everything. But I don't think there is that for spoken word. I don't think nobody really even understands it. I mean, I think the artists themselves understand it more.
Right.
But I don't think anyone understands it enough to make it pop. So there can be no one who can come in and save us. I mean, the music industry in this day, on November 15, 2008, can't save itself.
Sure indeed.
So I don't know. Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, my question. I've been wondering, what is it that, because myself, I came into spoken word focused primarily on just being an artist. And my observation of you is that even though that you give a lot of attention to the art form itself, but out of the gate, it's been business. And I want to know, like, what was it that coming into something that was, at least from where I stood, kind of in its infancy, that you saw that I should approach this with a business mindset from day one?
When I came into spoken word, mm-hmm. I was studying business anyway. I mean, I was a consultant. I had a consulting firm in South Orange, New Jersey. And me and my boy and another sister were running this thing. We were writing business plans for people, and spoken word ended up. I mean, I felt it in my heart. I stopped doing the consulting firm just so I could do spoken word. You know what I mean? Like, we ended the firm, and that was on me. It was kind of selfish in my part, but we ended the firm so that I could do spoken word. Like, I focused on it. And when I put out the CD back in, I recorded it in 98, put it out in the early 99, and I just saw like a potential. And the question was, if I could do this that I did in Jersey and New York, if I could do what I did in New Jersey and New York and do it all over the country, it would be slick. So it was like, you got to master plane tickets. You got to master, people skills. And from Jersey, we don't really have people skills. Our feelings is fuck you. It's like, I don't know how many promoters that, I've really used to learn how to be more of a people person, to be more of a politician. But in business school, we had a course called interfunctional management.
Okay.
And what we would do is we would go to firms, like in my case, we went to Wall Street, and we sat down with a firm and we tried to figure out how to make it better, how to make it work. So in the case of spoken word, to me, it's like just my long-term interfunctional program. I want spoken word artists to make money, not because I want us to be rich and living in mansions, but because I want it to be viable. I remember people winning national slams, and then all of a sudden they don't do spoken word anymore because it was anticlimactic. And one of the things I've never told people is the reason why I never did the deaf poetry thing, the reason why I always said no, was because I knew it would be an anticlimactic thing. I knew that I would do it, I would have these high expectations, and nothing would come forth from it. So when we did that Lyric Cafe thing, it was easier for me to do because I knew nothing would come from it, and I was ready for the anticlimax. I mean, I hope people would see it, right. But I knew in the time of the deaf poetry, I think a lot of people thought, I'll do this, and then for the rest of my life, I won't have to work no more, and I'll be straight. But you know what? They all, most of them, 90% of them, they back to work in their jobs, and they're sorry that they took off that week to do that.
Right.
Because it's anticlimactic, So I've learned that right now, just if I could do everything I can to apply what I've learned business-wise, which is why I do the databases, which is why I continue to update a business plan. It's not because it's a super capitalist venture. It's not because I'm trying to get rich off of poetry. It's because I wanted to make it at least lucrative enough for spoken word artists so that some people will channel their energy, not their 9 to 5. Forget 9 to 5. I want people to have all day, all week, all month, all year to work on improving this art form. Because I think I think this is it. I think this is the best art form. And if Marcel can fill seats in New York, dude don't even talk. If he can mine his way into America's heart, how come a spoken word artist, how come us as artists can't make our art form something that 10,000 people want to come out to see in any given city?
I agree with you 100%. You got no argument from me?
Oh, it's my turn, right?
Yes,
All right. All right, so next question is, the first question was where you see the art form. The next question is, where would you like to see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years.
Maybe you got to talk loud, too.
Yes. In 5 years, I would like to see myself able to move like 5,000 units in the first week. And due to the fact that it has been more recent for me that I have taken on the interest of it being, the business mindset. So I feel like I still have a lot to learn in order to try to make that happen. But, I'm willing to take all day, all week, all month, and all year to accomplish that. Because I feel that even though it's not about being rich for the sake of being rich, I think that until we actually generate some money in this art form, that those thousands of people are not going to even look in our direction.
I agree.
Because
nothing succeeds like success.
Amen.